The other day, I had a long conversation with a friend about money and business, and the conclusion we came to was pretty simple. At some point, we have to stop discussing money with people who are struggling financially, not because they are bad people, but because their reality becomes your ceiling. You don't need to cut them out of your life, but you do need to stop taking financial advice, business opinions, and mindset cues from people who are still trying to survive. Instead, you need to start spending time with and looking up to people who are already where you want to go. Let me explain. I've known this intellectually for many years, but I truly understood it on a visceral level when I had a chance to live in Switzerland last summer. One of the most exclusive places in Europe, a country where wealth isn't rare, it's normal, where roughly every seventh person is a millionaire. Making that move required a massive mindset leap. At first, it felt like a stretch, almost uncomfortable to place myself in an environment where people were operating at a completely different financial level. But on a subconscious level, I knew exactly why I was doing it. I needed to normalize a high standard. I needed to be around people making 10 times more than I was making at the time. Because if everyone around you earns 5,000 a month and believes it's amazing, that becomes your invisible limit. But when you place yourself in rooms where 20, 30, 50,000 a month is simply a baseline, something shifts instantly. Your mind goes, oh, this is possible. And once something becomes possible in your mind, it becomes inevitable in your life. You've probably heard the quote from Jim Rohn: you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. We're not alone when we hear this about ambition or fitness, but we rarely apply it to the most critical area of all, our finances. Your social circle creates an invisible financial ceiling. If the people you spend every weekend with think making $5,000 a month is a huge success, that becomes your subconscious benchmark for grace. Your mind will struggle to justify the work it takes to earn 10, 20, or 50,000 a month. Why? Simply because in your world, you're already a top performer. Think of it like a thermostat. Your friend's collective money mindset sets the temperature for the room. If their financial thermostat is set to a comfortable 72 degrees, well, just enough to be cozy, pay the bills, and have a little fun, your own ambition stat will adjust to that same temperature. Even if you have the power to heat the room to 95 degrees, the environment will constantly try to cool you down to its normal. And this isn't just a motivational poster idea, it's rooted in real psychology. The people around us are the silent architects of our financial choices. Their attitudes and habits shape what we believe is possible, often without us even realizing it. If the conversations are all about scarcity, complaining about bills, and celebrating small wins as if they're the absolute peak, that becomes your reality too. Your vision shrinks to fit the room you're in. Now, let's talk about something I like to call the friendship tax. Of course, it's not an official term, but it's very, very real. It's the direct financial cost you pay to maintain your social life. It's no surprise that studies consistently show a huge number of us have busted our budgets for social activities with friends, often spending money simply due to social pressure. This tax pops up everywhere. It's chipping in for a lavish birthday gift you can't really afford, or saying yes to that destination wedding that's going to vaporize your budget. It's the constant stream of brunches, concerts, and weekend trips that leave your bank account gasping for air. We're wired to protect our social bonds, sometimes even at the expense of our own financial security. But the friendship tax is just the start. The sneakier force at play is what I call the lifestyle inflation by osmosis. You don't consciously decide to overspend, you just absorb the habits around you. Your friend gets a new car, and suddenly your perfectly fine one feels ancient. Your whole group starts going to a trendier, more expensive grocery store, and you just follow along. Now, to be fair, younger generations like Gen Z or millennials are getting much smarter and more intentional about their spending, often hunting for deals to resist this pressure. But the expectation to conform is still powerful, whether it's the neighborhood you live in, the clothes you wear, or perhaps the vacations you take. It's not about keeping up with the Jonases anymore, trust me. It's about keeping up with your friends. And if their financial habits are unhealthy, yours are likely to follow suit. Now, if any of this is hitting home and you've ever felt that quiet pressure to spend money you didn't really have just to fit in, do me a quick favor and hit that like button. It tells me this is a conversation we need to be having and helps get this video out to more people who need to hear this. And here's something really important to remember. Your friends probably aren't bad people. They aren't sitting around a dark table plotting your financial ruin. The real issue isn't your friends, it's their mindset. Financial psychologist Dr. Brad Clones did groundbreaking research on what he calls money scripts. These are unconscious beliefs about money, usually formed in childhood, that drive our financial behavior as adults. For instance, Dr. Clones found that some people have money avoidance scripts. They carry beliefs like rich people are greedy and money is the root of all evil. If your friends have these scripts, they might subtly shame your ambition or make you feel guilty for wanting more. They aren't trying to hold you back. The internal script is just telling them that what you're doing is somehow wrong. Then there are money status scripts where people tie their self-worth to their net worth. They are the friends constantly chasing the next luxury item, believing that more stuff will make them feel more successful. Hanging out with them puts you on a treadmill of spending that only leads to debt and anxiety. Understanding this completely changes the conversation. Your friends aren't attacking your goals. They are just acting out their unconscious financial programming they were given. And until you can spot their script and your own, you're just going to be a character in their play. So how do we fix this? You don't have to ghost your entire friend group tomorrow. First step is just awareness. It's time for a little social circle audit. And here is a little experiment. Sometime this week, open a note on your phone or grab a piece of paper and write down the names of the 5 people you talk about money, business, or your career with the most. Next to each name, answer these questions honestly. What's their general attitude toward money? Is it about abundance or is it about scarcity? Do they talk about growth and opportunities, or do they mostly complain about how expensive everything is? Are they actively trying to grow their income, or are they pretty comfortable right where they are? When you share a big financial goal, do they get excited for you, or do they hit you with a list of reasons why it's risky or impossible? This isn't about judging them. It's about collecting data. You're just trying to identify the thermostat setting of your current environment. The results might be a little uncomfortable, but the discomfort is what sparks change. And once you have the data, it's time to act. It's a 2-part strategy. You need to redefine your current relationships and intentionally build new ones. First, redefine your existing friendships. This doesn't mean cutting people off. It means changing the context of how you hang out. You might also need to have a direct but kind conversation with them. The friends who truly get it will support you. The ones who don't will likely costing you more than just money. And second, you have to intentionally engineer your new circle. Ambition is cultivated, not accidental. You need to put yourself in rooms where your big goals are considered starting point, not the finish line. So where do you find these people? Join high-level masterminds or professional groups. Go to workshops on topics that excite you, like investing or starting a business. Join clubs focused on activities that tend to attract driven people, like public speaking, tennis, or golf, and volunteer for a non-profit board. The goal is to find people who stretch your idea of what's possible, and their normal becomes your new level up. The people you surround yourself with have a massive impact on your life. They're either a headwind holding you back or a tailwind pushing you forward. You simply cannot hang out with negative, scarcity-minded people and expect to live A positive, abundant life, it's like trying to swim upstream against a strong current. By auditing your social circle, redefining your relationship, and intentionally building a new network, you're not just making new friends, you're taking complete responsibility and ownership of your financial destiny. You're turning off the air conditioner that's been cooling your ambition and finally giving yourself permission to turn up the heat. Your financial future is far too important to be a causality of social pressure. So stop letting your friends keep you poor. And before you go, comment below and tell me one change you're going to make this month to improve your financial environment. I read every single comment. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more practical ways to build wealth and live a richer, happier life. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next on this video right here.